Hi, and welcome to Inspire DIY. My name is Max, and today I'm going to be sharing you the things that you should know before getting a cat. First and foremost, I would like to mention that I'm not a cat expert by all means. These are from my personal experience of having Cookie since he was only like 8 weeks old. So he's actually a little bit younger than other kittens that you may want to adopt or any other cat, because the family that he came from just decided to readopt them to the animal hospital earlier than their normal age. So typically, if you go to any animal shelter or animal hospital, kittens are usually being adopted at least from the age of like 4 months or older. Typically, you see about maybe even up to 6 months and then older cat. Now that leads to my first point of the cat's personality, because Cookie was very shy when I first adopted him as a kitten. He usually doesn't interact with me at all, like for the very first time I met him, up to a few days until he actually gets very comfortable around me. And then I realized he's actually not shy at all, because he's very engaging, very interactive, and he talks a lot around me. Whereas when he's being introduced to other people who come over to my place, he's not as comfortable, so he's a little bit more quiet. And a lot of people like to get younger kittens, and I think that's something I want to share with, because I actually went through a lot of trouble, when Cookie was a kitten, and then doing everything for him, and you have to do all the vaccines up to keeping up to date and everything, which it's very standard maintenance for having a pet or a cat. But with that said, kittens always going to be a lot more work to do, because they're not trained to do certain stuff like using litter box, being fed certain ways, and they are a lot more active than older cats. So that's something you want to consider, because older cats, now that he's about almost 6 years old, he's a lot easier to just letting him do his own things. Whereas a kitten, you kind of have to play with them almost like every time you see them, because otherwise at night they're gonna be running around and you're not gonna get sleep. That's because they're just young, like a little child. Now, if you do decide to adopt a kitten, cats are naturally a nocturnal, so they tend to, actually they're not even like a nocturnal, they actually wake up in the early morning as well as early in the evening. That's what I noticed. But you can slowly adjust their schedule to yours over time, and you have to do it in specific ways. So you can't feed them too early. You have to play with them before letting them go to sleep, so that they basically run out of energy, so that they'll fall asleep through the night. So Cookie is become very accustomed to my lifestyle now, which is a lot better than when he was younger. He was a little troublemaker here. Now, with regards to their personality, even if you adopt an older cat, there are certain habits that they kind of develop over time, and you can't really change it in some ways. Like, I used to raise my cat indoor, and I would never let him go outside whatsoever. And then once I moved into the place I lived like 2 years ago, I realized that he's actually really enjoying his time outside. So I can't really force him to stay indoor anymore, because he gets so curious to go out. So, and then someone like my brother's cat and other cats that I met who I used to live in the other homes, they never really come out. If you leave the door open, they'll just sit on the porch and look. That's the farthest they'll ever go, or they'll just go hiding or doing their own thing. So cats are like humans in some way, that we all have different personality. That's something you kind of have to just adapt to them, as opposed to forcing them to become certain ways that you want.
Hi. What you doing? What are you doing?
And as for the toys, obviously if you adopt a younger kittens, they're gonna want to play more. Cookie used to play a lot with all the sticks, all those toys I used to have for him. Now he doesn't really interact with those balls and all the stuff anymore. But it's just as he ages, he likes to just go outside and just watch birds or something. I don't know what he does outside. And in terms of the cost, I typically spend no more than $20 to $30 for his food. I'm not I feed him Friskies. I feed him the other brand I mix in with the gluten-free diet. That I try to basically afford as much as I can for him, but keeping the budget in mind as well. Something I do want to mention here is you definitely want to feed them more wet food than dry food, and which is why some of the cats you see get really obese, because when they eat a lot dry food, they gain a lot of weight, right? So definitely try to pick the best brand that you can afford, and if not, try to mix something in, but don't feed them too much dry food because there's no hydration for them, and naturally they're desert animals, so they don't really drink that much water, so wet food can really help with that. As for other maintenances, like I have very basic stuff for Cookie, so I just have a cat scratcher, a litter box for him, and he pretty much just sleep everywhere he wants. Like you see him just laying here on the sofa, he would sleep on my bed with me in my arm, but that just really varies depending on their personalities.
What? What you say? Meow. Uh-huh. Meow.
The last thing I do want to mention, should you decide to adopt a cat, is, hospital bills can be expensive depending on how healthy your cat is. So, and also the age that you adopt them. So actually, when you adopt them they were little kittens, I had to get vaccine for him every month up until like 6 months old, and then it becomes like a yearly thing for those like vaccine renewal or something. Whereas if you adopt like older cats or a cat from the SPCA animal hospital here, they tend to get vaccinated and did all their rabies and what else did they do? Like neutering, like those things are done already. Whereas I actually pay everything for Cookie because I adopted him at such a young age. I don't know, like I wasn't really thinking too much about those. I was a college student. I was doing part-time, and I just really wanted a cat, so I looked up on like Craigslist and Kijiji, and I found him. Like they wanted someone to re-adopt from the animal hospital, and I just went for it. Honestly, I wasn't thinking too much, but these are the things I learned over time, and it's been a very good experience to have a cat, especially through the pandemic, and I would really recommend you. It doesn't even need to be a cat, but any pet, which really helps you to kind of relax and just take care of somebody. It's a really nice experience. Anyways, I hope you enjoy watching this little short tutorial guide or whatever you call it. As usual, leave a comment or DM me directly if you have any questions regarding if you want to be a pet owner yourself, and we can chat from there. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks very much for watching.